right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Dive Bomb Industries. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Yes.
Well, I got through that better than the last one, didn't I?
You did.
Well, I was all jacked up.
I thought you were having a stroke. I thought we needed to take you somewhere. You lost your ability to speak, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is how it's all going to end, on a podcast.
God, I couldn't imagine going out and not being able to talk. Be sure nice for everybody else, though.
Be pleasant for everybody else around you.
Yep. With us today.
Has your blood pressure simmered down since getting off the phone with the electric company?
No, since you brung this up, just so everybody knows, we've had the same electrical company for 30 years, and they got bought out by a big
You didn't even
conglomerate.
have an email when you started with this company.
That's exactly right.
That's how old it is.
And so the lady, I got a call today. You're on the disconnect notice. Bullshit. I pay the bill every month at the same time. Well, they've moved the dates around on me, and we're in a cycle. And I don't know if we're on the same cycle or they just never said nothing before. But we get our bill out of the Fort Worth Postal Service, which sucks. So we get our bill due, and I pay it when I get the bill in. Well, hell, we ain't been getting our bill until it's already past due. So I called. So I told them if they would email me, it would work a lot better so I don't kill some bitch. I just pisses me off.
So they expect you to pay your bill before you even get the bill,
Yes.
or they're going to cut your electricity off.
Yes.
Because you're past payment by the time you get the bill.
And this started a year ago. Harry comes in, he says, the electric company's out here about your bill. I go, what about my bill? It's already cleared my bank 3 days ago or 4. I go outside, and the guy's like, Jeff, y'all are on the cutoff list. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I was going to come talk to you. I go, I paid
Small
it.
town.
So I had to bring him inside. I said, look, here's this. Show him. He said, it was for somebody's fucking, for a meter that wasn't even ours.
Yeah.
They wanted me to pay theirs. And I was like, listen, the guy that has that owns about 50 jets. He's a very wealthy man. Trust me, he's going to pay his bill. He probably hasn't got it because of the Fort Worth postmaster. And that's what it is. It's just frustrating in today's time. So she goes, I don't have an email on file. Well, yeah, it's because I've been a customer so long I didn't have an email. So I told her, I said, email me my bill the 13th of each month, and I'll pay it by the 16th of each month.
There you go.
So anyways, so with us today, Mr. James Simon from Danbury, New Hampshire. Sorry you had to hear all that shit. That's the kind of that's the last 15 minutes of my life. And I was pissed off. I mean, fucking pissed. The only thing I wasn't pissed off is I got to speak to someone that wasn't in India. So that made it better at least. And I feel sorry for the ladies that work there because they're really nice and it's really a good company.
You were
and they
very
have great
pleasant. You were
service.
very pleasant. You told her several times, like, this has nothing to do with you.
It's just frustrating.
It's just your boss is a cocksucker.
I did say that.
You did.
And he won't call me back, I'm sure, but it don't matter. So, Mr. Symonds, you live in the country I love. I love in the Northeast. It's beautiful. Other than take out all your liberal politics and bullshit, it's a great place to be.
That's very confined, though, correct?
And very good cherry cider beer.
It's overran with the liberal politics at this point. I mean, every seems like every day, new property or something's getting bought out by some liberal politic, and weird world we live in up here now.
It is. Now, you are an Army veteran, and you started a guide service.
Yes, I did.
Where's your guide service out of?
So I originally started off in New York in the Finger Lakes region. And then just recently after early September season, a company, another guide service out of Pennsylvania, merged in with mine. So now we're running hunts out of like the southeastern part of Pennsylvania by Hamburg and Allentown, as well as the Finger Lakes region of New York.
Now, are y'all shooting black ducks?
We do shoot some black ducks. If you want to shoot some black ducks, late season in New Hampshire is the place to do it, though.
That to me ought to be able to sell just by itself because most people have never shot a black duck. And
it's crazy because I don't even want to start to count the amount of black ducks I've shot. I mean, I probably shoot double-digit black ducks every year.
So for a guy that wanted to book a hunt and wanted to come hunt late January, when'd y'all season end up there?
January 1 in the Finger Lakes, and then our southern zone ends like mid-January. I want to say it's the 14th. Don't quote me on that, but it's mid-January.
So if a group of guys, what size groups do y'all run?
I'll run. I offer private group hunts. So that is with our New York honker limit and some of our regular zones, it's one bird. So I'll offer private hunts for like a father and a son. And then most of the group size, I try to do a 4-person minimum. And then big geese and ducks, I will run anywhere from that 4 to 8 people. And then snow geese, I'll run a max of 10.
Okay, so let me go back to that. So you're running a group of 4 as a private group for you.
Yeah, usually 3 or under. Once we hit 4, it's a regular group.
So, but if 4 people, you get a private hunt, and you can come up. So, if a guy in southern Louisiana wanted to book 4 guys to come up there to shoot black ducks for 2 or 3 days, with a group of 4, they could do it, and there's a good chance they're going to shoot their black ducks.
Nothing's ever a guarantee. That's one thing I always pitch. It's never a guarantee, but there is a decent chance of shooting some black ducks.
Okay, no, I understand that, because I have guys tell me all the time, "Well, we want to shoot mallards." Well, I don't sell a mallard hunt; I sell a duck hunt.
Exactly. That's the way I do it. Well, it could be widgeon, could be gadwall, could be black ducks, could be pintails.
I had a group one time that did that. They come up to hunt an afternoon hunt, and we had a milo field, and it had water in it, and there was all kinds of ducks in it. Well, this one guy wouldn't shoot at all. And I was like, and the guy on the radio with me, and he's like, he won't shoot. I said, tell him we're doing a duck hunt. We ain't doing a fucking mallard hunt. We're not going to sit here all day just to shoot mallards. We're going to shoot ducks. Yeah. And there was 6 guys, and we ended up shooting 30 ducks because he didn't want to shoot or something like that. I can't remember all the details, but we sell a duck hunt, not a mallard shoot. So if someone comes up there, you're going to duck hunt, but you hope to shoot some black ducks, but you're not doing just a black duck hunt.
Exactly. A lot of people pass up on like them widgeons and gadwall, and I think they're fun as hell to shoot. I mean, widgeons give it right up, and they're fun to watch.
They're awesome.
They are, but I can understand people wanting to shoot. I'd like to shoot a black duck. I killed one when I was a kid. We killed a couple one winter, but it's been forever. I'd like to kill one again, but that wouldn't be my whole. I want to shoot. I'm going to pull a trigger if I'm out duck hunting. So,
what's the limit on black ducks?
2.
So, like, why would somebody be all, or do they already like have ducks, and then they're like, no, I don't want to shoot these widgeon. I want to save my 2 for a black duck or something like that?
I have no clue. I mean, I think it's like the big duck, because I think a lot of guys that get on these hunts want meat,
right?
And they want to shoot bigger birds.
Yeah, I love shooting widgeon, pintail. I'm like Jeff. I just want to pull the trigger. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So y'all had a September season for honkers?
Yep. Yeah, it starts September 1 and September 25.
How was it?
So I only ran in New York for 9 days, just usually the second half of the season, waiting on the migrators to start showing up. And with my first year really doing it, and it's been a while since I've done it in New York, and my first year guiding, we ended up with 137 in the 9 days.
Oh, very good. Yeah, everybody had to be happy about that.
Yep, I had some unhappy clients, but at the end of the day, you're putting geese in the hole, and they can't hit them. They can't hit them.
Yeah, that's not on you.
And so y'all's limit is 1. Is that what you said at one time? Is one bird?
15 early season, then once regular season comes, it bumps down to 1, and then some zones are 5.
That's crazy. 1 bird from 15 to 1. Shooting the same birds a lot of times.
The way the zoning works is even crazier, because it starts up at like top of Lake Champlain, of Lake Champlain zone, all the way down along the eastern edge of New York and along the southern part of New York, which makes no sense to me. That's 5 birds. Everything above it is 1.
That's crazy how they come up with some of these zones. Where did you?
Oh yeah, you got to think it's all the same geese migrating through.
Yeah, I like your hat. Where'd you get the hat at?
This is a combat waterfowl
hat. That's badass. Yeah.
I tried to get into a custom one. I wanted to make a custom one with a band and a collar on it. They said they couldn't do it because they order them like by bulk or something.
Oh yeah.
So how long have you been in the guiding business?
This is my first year doing it for myself. I did it back when I was in the Army, and I was actually stationed at Fort Drum. I was a helper. And then I obtained a fishing guide license for a very short period of time, and then I moved back to New Hampshire.
Do you have to have any licensing to run an outfit up there?
You got to have your guide license.
Oh, we need that here.
I agree with you. I agree with you on one thing, except for the government regulations on shit is ridiculous.
Well, Jeff,
what is y'all's regulations up there to become a guide?
I'm not 100%. I mean, insurance is a go-to. You got to file with DEC. You have to obtain a hunting license, no tickets, and then they send you an exam. So you have to do like a pre-exam, which is just, for me at least, I don't know if the exams change from person to person, but they give you a pre-exam, and that's a lot of like your land nav stuff of how to get from point A to point B with avoiding a cliff in between them. And then you go to your regular exam, and they throw you some curveball questions, you know, in different counties, like what's the rough grouse limit in this particular county, and you know, it's open book for the most part as well. It changed from the first time when I did it for my fishing guide's license. That was in person. And then now everything, because of COVID, they made it online.
Right.
I think that in Texas, I wish we had a guide license, but I wish it was this. You have to carry $1 million liability insurance.
Outfitter's license.
An outfitter's license. And you have to carry $1 million liability insurance. And that would be it.
That's it?
That's the only regulations.
Only prerequisite?
I think so. That I can think of. That's, to me, is the most important deal. What else would you include in it?
I like the no tickets thing.
Well, I don't have a problem with that either.
Keep the outlaws out of the deal.
But most outlaws aren't going to have liability insurance anyways. That's the biggest problem we deal with is the guys that start up a guide service. Lubbock, Texas is the king of this because they got every kid that goes to tech has got daddy's decoys and he wants to hunt and be a guide. Yeah. So he talks to Uncle Bill and his buddies that work for him at the insurance agent. They're going to come to Lubbock and they're going to go hunt. And then they go hunt somewhere. And sometimes they have permission and sometimes they don't. But if they all had liability insurance, they wouldn't be guiding if they had to carry liability insurance. And that's I don't mind a young kid starting a guide service. I started my guide service out, but the first year I didn't have liability insurance. Right. But I did the second year. And that's when I really started running full time. But the first year I did part-time stuff. But by the second year I had insurance. And it would bother me when the other guys would be guiding out here and they didn't have insurance. I'm thinking, shit, I'm paying, $500 a month to have insurance and you're not having insurance. But
I pay $2,100 a year.
Oh, well, we pay a whole lot more than that, but I got a lot of other stuff involved in it. But that's still
exactly. I have boats. I don't have dealers. I don't have anything like that on my insurance.
So you got $2,100 is just the hunting insurance is what you pay.
Yep, that covers attorney fees, property damage, medical.
Right. It's smart to have.
Knock on wood, we've never had to use our liability for this. Tony's dumbass did start a bunch of hay bales on fire one time.
I ran over a kid.
Oh,
well, you did run. And
I ran over a kid.
And Andy ran over a kid with the trailer one time.
Yeah, so thankfully I didn't have to use it there either.
We were at the hospital while he was getting x-rays and stuff, and the kid's got a basketball tournament, and he's a point guard, and I thought, damn, some bitches in Louisiana are going to kill Andy.
Now I'm sure like marked him permanently. I'm sure one leg's shorter than another and like his basketball career's over, I'm sure. So bad deal.
How do you run over a kid anyway?
You should have been working, Jeff. You should have been working. You shouldn't have been sitting on the trailer.
God almighty.
And no free rides. It was a bad deal, Jeff. Look, everybody fucked up that day.
Not everybody. I didn't.
I didn't have a spotter. Thought it was
Blake's fault.
I was getting the Gamon back. So I was coming on back, and then all of a sudden I heard no, go. Fuck, I didn't know which way to go, so I put it in drive and ran over him the second time.
This is the phone call I get. Jeff, yeah, you might want to sit down for this. I'm like, what's going on? Because I knew we had a really good shoot. I go, what's going on?
Pretty windy that day.
I ran over a kid. I go, what? I ran over one of the hunters. I go, what the fuck do you mean you ran over one of the hunters? With the trailer. How'd you do it? Well, I didn't do it on purpose. Well, I didn't figure you did it.
Twice.
Yeah. What's his leg?
Back and forward.
Yeah. I go.
Hey, after the hunt, not before.
And then I get
that awkward sitting in the blind all morning. Like
and it was. I think Zach called me, didn't he?
I don't know. It was.
You Zach and Blake
and Ryan Fawkes.
Was it? Yeah, and then somebody got the
tons of spotters, tons of eyes, and people to be telling me like I need to go here or there, and nobody. Everybody's like taking the morning off, and it's just me.
I go, well, where's the kid at? Oh, he's at the hospital, the ER. We ought to go up there. So we all go trudging through the ER. Well, it looks like it's a clean break. No, it wasn't broke though.
It wasn't broke at all.
It wasn't broke, but it was okay. And his daddy was really nice about it.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, this somebody's gonna be a horse's ass to me, and he was really, really nice. He's like, hey, it's no big deal.
He even hunted that afternoon. I had to carry him out to the field, but he even hunted that afternoon. Little trooper.
I might have to carry a guy out here shortly. I just actually got a client who's paralyzed from the waist down, and today I've been trying to figure out the best ways to accommodate him. They want to shoot some ducks, and trying to figure out the best ways to accommodate him to get out into the field and stuff.
Have you seen those?
You can't drive, I'm assuming?
The motorized wheelchairs?
I'm working with the landowner on it, on that particular one. He doesn't want driving, and right now he's 50-50. He's understanding of it, but he's just got to make sure, none of his crops are obviously getting damaged.
What are the crops already harvested?
Some are, some aren't. So they're just there, like their silage corn's getting cut, and then they're gonna start chopping. And then the bean harvest. Most of the wheat's harvested. I think they're trying to get one more cut of hay as well.
I would assume if as long as you hunted a harvested field that he'd be okay with it. I would hope.
You gotta be a real asshole to turn down a paralyzed guy.
No, make that motherfucker make him crawl.
I don't think he's gonna end up doing it because the particular field I'm trying to get on because they want to try to hunt over water, but this particular landowner has a field that right up abuts a swamp, and it's flat right out to it. So it's almost like the transition from the field to the swamp is one, no hedgerow, no nothing. So I think it'd be a really good spot to try to set up a frame and be able to shoot both sides of it.
But you don't think the landowner will let you?
I'm pretty sure he's going to. It just once everything gets cleared out. I mean, I got another. I think it's the 30th.
Oh, okay.
Before he comes out, but
are you?
If I got to carry him.
Yeah.
You're gonna carry him
if he has to.
Yeah. If I got to do it, I got to do it.
Do y'all not sell real beer up there?
Busch Light, baby.
Yeah, this is the king of
beers.
Support
your farmers.
The king of beers. Boy, beers have went way down. Yeah. So that's your beer of choice.
Have you done it with Mountain Dew?
Busch Light Mountain Dew. I tried it. I can't. I don't think it's the best.
I liked it. We did it at Squad Fest, so it was hot. We were on pavement. It was very, very hot, and it was good, refreshing.
It tasted like a sour beer.
Kinda.
No shit.
It kind of did.
Back at some IPAs and those like homebrew stuff we get a lot of up here.
Is that IPAs the one that's real hoppy?
Yeah, I don't
know how the fuck anybody drinks that shit. Whoa.
Oh, it's like freaking drinking pine needles and fucking all kinds of shit, man. It's no go for me.
You might as well just get one of those air fresheners and like lick it over and over again. That's an IPA.
I'm telling you, if I lived where you did, the cherry sour beers are the best.
You've said that.
I wish I could think of the name of the company, the brewer place that did. I even called them last year about getting some. I wanted to buy a case or two or three or four. They were good beers.
I'll see if I can find them for you, Jeff. I'll do some.
That was a Hanover. It was a pub or something on the square in Hanover, and it was really good. I looked them up last year. Guy, after I talked about it last year when we come home, and a guy looked them up and he called. He knew somebody that worked there, and they were out already for the year. But it was really a good beer. But it was a cherry sour beer, and I wish I could think of the name of the place. But it was good. I like them in the summertime. Keep them in the refrigerator, ice cold, frozen mug. Pour one of them in. They're good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds better than Busch. No offense on your Busch Light. I don't know how you guys drink that stuff.
You can't go wrong with the Busch Light. It's good ice cold. It's good lukewarm.
Oh man,
I don't mind Busch Light.
That don't surprise me either. So are you,
way better than Bud Light.
Well, yeah, we're not Mexicans. That's a Mexican beer. And I'm not offending. I'm not offending anybody because every Mexican I'm friends with drinks Bud Light. They all know. It's nice to live in Texas where you can speak and nobody gets offended because everybody knows and nobody cares. We don't get our butt hurt all the time. So you can shoot. I want to go back to the one goose limit. That's got to be tough on just a goose hunt because there's got to be, you're done quick. A lot of days, real quick.
Oh yeah. So way I try to do it is, obviously it's up to the clients what they want to do. What I'll try to do is I'll try to do a morning duck hunt and then I'll do like an afternoon goose shoot, or I'll try to get that combo where they're going to be able to either get ducks and geese in a field or ducks and geese going to a feed on water.
Right.
But the way I'll try to do it is just ducks in the morning, geese in the PM.
Right.
That way they can get best of both worlds, and evening time you're in and out quick.
Do you shoot a lot of bands in your area?
No. I know like this year they didn't band a lot because of the avian flu.
Oh. Fucking.
So I think between New Hampshire and New York this year, we're upwards of like 220 geese, and I've shot one band.
That's like Texas numbers, and Texas numbers are awful.
Yeah. New Hampshire's usually really good for bands, but like the last few years, it's kind of been changing up, and especially this year without the banding at all.
Right. I saw on Facebook, and it might have been a year ago, but I think Dive Bomb might have been in New York State, and they just mollywopped the bands.
Yeah, they were just up there early season and hammered away on them.
Just like every flock that they shot into was banded. It was insane.
Yeah, you run into them because what happens, you get them local early season groups that, your family groups, and they all get banded, at one point. And they end up sticking right together, and they come in right together. And you end up shooting into it and you're picking up 5-6 bands out of a volley.
Yeah. How long were you in the military for?
I was in for 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
And then what were your duties in the military?
I was a mechanic.
Okay.
The whole time.
Very cool. So you got to learn how to work on tanks and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so that's the way it started out for me, actually, is I was supposed to be a wheeled vehicle mechanic. And then when I got to my first duty station, which was Camp Casey, South Korea, I was in an artillery unit. And that was working on paladins and, pretty much tanks. And went from schooling on wheels to now it's got tracks and a whole different system, and got tossed into it and figured it out.
Did you like it or not?
And, it had its days where I loved it. It had its days where I hated it. I mean, would I go back and do it all over again? 100%.
Did you plan on like having a mechanic shop over here? Was that kind of your plan when you were in the military? Like, okay, I can parlay this into being a mechanic.
So when I got out, I went right to mechanics, and then quickly realized there ain't shit for money in it, really. Right. And then I went into HVAC doing heating and cooling after that.
That's where the fucking money is.
Yep. And then that's actually what I just left to do this full time.
You left to be a HVAC guy to go to be a hunting guide?
Yep.
There's a lot of money in HVAC right now. You can be a HVAC and then go hunt when you want to the nicest places in the world. If you want to be a guide, God bless you and good luck. That's what I did. And I didn't do it for the money. I can tell you from someone who's been in this 30 years, it's hard to get rich being in the hunting business. I know a lot of...
Yeah, that's never my plan is to get rich. It's just, I'm making enough to pay the bills for it. And I'm getting to get people out to do the passion that I love to do. And I'm at the point now where it's not about me shooting birds or anything like that. It's getting others who haven't been able to do it and just seeing the smile on other people's faces when they see that flock of geese flipping down into the decoys and doing that. That's where I get my joy out of it at this point now.
Well, you need to chase your dreams. I'm 100% by that, and I'm not trying to be a banker or a parent and steal someone's thunder. But I know a lot of guys that were worth $10 million that got in the hunting business now that are worth $7 million. That's all I'm saying is you can't get in the hunting business to make money because it's hard to do that. But if it's something you enjoy, but when you get in the hunting business, your joys of shooting birds are over. I mean, how many times, Andy, do you get to actually hunt? 4 times a year, maybe? Max?
Ooh, maybe not even that. Yeah. I don't know.
Unless we do a family fun hunt, or you take the boys on it for some reason.
Which I don't shoot then either.
No, you're babysitting your kid. But I mean, you don't.
Between having kids and Lou, like there's no shooting.
You don't get a lot of that. And that's the biggest misconception so many young guys do is they hunt on their own a lot and they've got a passion for it. Then they start a guide business and they think, shit, I'm going to get a hunt every day. No. If you go out with your customers and you're pulling the trigger all the time with them, you're not going to have very many customers because they're not paying for you to hunt.
Right.
They want a guide, not another shooter.
We had leechos out here over the weekend and we did a bunch of dove hunting. Oop, I don't know what I pressed there. And we did a bunch of dove hunting 2 days. I guarantee you I shot more Friday and Saturday than I will all waterfowl season. And I'll hunt 7 days a week. I mean, if it's a cripple on the water or something like that, I'll shoot quite a bit at cranes just because if it's like cripples and stuff, I don't hunt Lou. So I'm chasing cranes down, cripples, and I'm not fucking with a crippled crane. Like I'm shooting it and we're gonna be done with it. And just sometimes on water, if I don't want Lou to have to swim a whole bunch, I'll shoot a cripple. But aside from it, birds in the air, like I very rarely will even lift up a gun.
Yeah, it's the same way I am. Is most of the time, if I've had clients ask me to shoot, but even then, it's still like, all right, one volley all day that I'll pick up the gun, and other than that, it just sits there and I load it when I have to go shoot cripples.
Yeah. I always feel like I'm getting rope-a-doped into something, like because
you think Tim Brown's gonna happen to you?
Yeah, like why don't you shoot with us? I'm like, I don't know who you are, buddy. You better pump the brakes here. I don't know what you're up to, sorcery you're doing over there, but I don't have a good feeling about you, bub. So my gun is it's fine right here. And I mean, for the most part, it is because, we always get the question, well, can we shoot your birds? And it's like, no, absolutely not. Like, not doing it. Sorry. And then I always feel like, well, if I'm going to be shooting, we should keep hunting until my bird limit is full.
Nope.
You know, I've been shooting. So that's just kind of how I work around all of that. I don't even, I'll tell them my gun's in the case. And if somebody has a jam, you know, that's why my gun is out here. But I was always afraid of, well, if I'm fucking burning up a box of shells a day, and then the clients are like, well, you've been shooting all day. Like, why are we done? You don't have your limits. Like, so I just avoid it all entirely if I can.
We call that the Ron Stanfield rule. Dad used to always want to shoot when we'd have to kill 5 birds. He'd get mad sometimes. Dad, I don't need you to go shoot. We got 8 guys. We can shoot 40 geese. Ain't no sense to shoot 45.
Right.
Well, I'll just stay home. Okay.
That's fine. You chose to.
Then he'd pout and get mad and stuff, you know, but he wanted to shoot every day. Well, sometimes I didn't mind getting some extra birds because we need some swap birds for the customers when we do the bird cleaning and stuff. But, you know, I don't need, if every guide shoots 5 birds every day back when we were on a 5 bird and we were shooting all little geese, you know, fuck, we got 50 extra birds every day around here.
Right.
And we don't need that. And it's too hard on the bird species. But that's what gets me. I've never known anybody that did the 1 bird guide and on a 1 bird limit. So you have customers actually know they're going to shoot 1 goose and that's all you're going to kill and you're going to be done.
Yeah. Like I was saying, way I try to do it is we'll back it with like a duck hunt in the morning. So that way they're not just shooting that 1 goose and they're done. We'll get on ducks in the morning or get a combo going where it's ducks and geese, either on water or in a field.
Now, when's your best time of year? Are you coming into it, or, I mean, is early season pretty special?
Early season special. I mean, early season will always hold a spot in my heart, but I like getting those mixed bags later in the year. I personally like late November to mid-December, where you can get divers, you can get fully plumed. All your ducks are fully plumed, and there's just more variety of geese, ducks around.
Now, what kind of water are you shooting them over? I mean, is it deeper water? Or are you shooting like backwoods sloughs?
We got some swamps, you know, obviously we have the Finger Lakes. That's where we're shooting, you know, most of our divers and stuff like that. But it's deep, shallow, wadeable. Sometimes we'll get a little bit of sheet water in a field.
Yeah. Is that where the widgeon are most of the time? Are they in the sheet water fields?
Yeah, you get them in the sheet water. You'll get them back in them swamps as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Pintails also same type deal?
Yep.
And then with the black ducks, they're just in and amongst the widgeon and the pintail and all the other puddle ducks?
Like they're too separated. I mean, black ducks seem like they're that one type of duck that doesn't care who they're with.
Really?
You know, they be mixed in with the mallards, mixed in with the geese. I mean, like here in New Hampshire, we have Great Bay, which is one of the biggest, or probably the biggest roost in all of New England. And you walk out on that or walk the shoreline on that come late December, January, and it's all black ducks.
Right.
Like I'm talking, there'll be hundreds of them out there. And every bird that you'll have come in the morning is going to be black ducks.
Now, do you get swans where you are?
In New York, yes. I had a bunch of them work a snow goose rig last year, and they started off like 300 yards down the rig and just worked right up into the feed head.
Did you shoot them, or was the season not open?
No, we don't have a swan season.
Oh, you don't? That's a bummer.
Yeah, they're cool to watch. They're big birds.
Yeah, they are.
You never realize how big they are until they're like right next to you.
Were you telling your guys like, hey, these are swans, don't shoot them, they're not snow geese?
Yeah, I was on a buddy hunt. I was
okay.
Someone, snow's coming. I'm like, those ain't snows.
It's way too big to be a snow. We had that on a client hunt. We were hunting ways away from here, and we're hunting in a wheat field. So everybody's laying out there, and then these swans just come right over the top of us. And we saw them for a while out, and we were like, listen, guys, there's going to be some white birds fly over. These are not snow geese. Do not quick shoot us. Gun, just don't even touch your gun. And they did. Yeah. They just cruise right over, making whatever weird sound they make.
Yeah. And a lot of times I know, like with the snow goose rig in the spring, they'll sit there and circle. A lot of times you got to scare them off, and then they'll friggin' just pick up and circle.
So they're not too smart.
I think it's that springtime bird type deal, you know, where everything's just all mixed in and they want to be somewhere with other birds.
Right. Do y'all have a pretty good snow season there? Spring snow season?
It's hit or miss. I mean, because we're not hunting those Midwest snow geese. So I think we only get about 1 million snows through the East Coast. So we're not hunting a lot of the lessers or Rossies. We're hunting those, the bigger, greater snow geese.
Wasn't that video that was circulating? Wasn't that from Pennsylvania? There was one like monster feed, and it was right off of a highway. I thought it might have been in Pennsylvania. I don't know.
It might have been like Middle Creek in Pennsylvania. That will hold
all 1 million,
couple 100,000 snows.
Yeah, it was wherever that place was. It was freaking impressive. I'll see if I can find it right now, but the odds of that are probably pretty small. But yeah, I mean, the whole field was just fucking stacked.
Yeah, it'll get like that. I mean, it has its years. Like last year was pretty weird because we were shooting snows in like January that hadn't left yet, and then we got into like a freeze, and then it thawed, and then we got a freeze again. So the migration was just so weird where they pushed up, and then I know up towards like the St. Lawrence in the northern part of New York, there was 100,000 snow sitting on the St. Lawrence, and they weren't coming down back into New York to feed because the St. Lawrence was open and they had feed up into Canada. So it's almost like we stayed locked up and they bypassed us.
It was called, yeah, you're right. It's called Middle Creek. Is that what you said? Middle Creek. Yeah, it stopped traffic. There's a video on YouTube. People are on the highway, and it's
how big a feed was it?
90,000.
Yeah,
90,000.
So a cool thing about Middle Creek is they have a live camera on the Middle Creek like roost pond or roost lake, so you can like log into it in the morning before they get up and leave, and you can see all the snows on it. And then same thing in the evening when they're all coming back, you can watch them be a live feed on that Middle
How
Creek.
big is that field they're on?
It's just a regular field.
Well, I'm talking about how many acres, because I'm going to give you a reference that you can go by. The 1,500 acre field,
yeah,
1 year had geese from the top of it to the bottom of it, and the biologist told Ronnie that there was 100,000 geese on it.
Oh,
and that's that, and it took up 1,500 acres of solid geese.
These birds though, like the people are right next, either that or they got a great zoom on their camera, but like it looks like they're just out in the field. No, they're out in the field with them. Fuck.
Those birds probably don't worry about people. They don't mess with them.
But that probably happens every day. Like I bet traffic just stops for these birds, and they're like,
oh yeah, I happened to me in northern New York one time where I was driving, and I think it was tail end of March, and I'm driving up the road, and it looked like there was snow across the road and in two fields either side, and they're just walking across the street, held up traffic, everything.
I saw that in Canada one year that I went up there. There were birds that would just spill out into the road and then into the next field. It's the only place that I've seen it.
They're a weird bird.
They are. I'm glad I don't have to chase them.
Well, you can, but even Canada geese, you can go to where we hunt in Oklahoma. You can go to the city park and feed them with bread and stuff, and then you go out in the spread and they're scared to death of you.
Yeah,
I mean they're a quirky little bird, or a quirky animal for sure. Mallards are the same way. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy deal. Now, first of all, someone asked me to ask this, and I always forget, so I'm going to ask you, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen while you were hunting or fishing in the outdoors?
You want a personal story or a story my ex-helper told me?
Let's do that. Let's do both. Which one's the best story?
The one
then
my
let's
helper
hear it
told me.
second. You tell us your story first, then we'll finish it up with the other one.
My personal story. Huh. I don't know. I've seen so much like weird stuff.
What? I mean,
to me, nothing's weird.
Oh, there's got to be something weird. I mean, like two midgets having sex in an IHOP parking lot. You got to have something weird you've seen outside.
I mean, other than like crackheads and stuff like that. I mean, that's like a normal.
You've never seen nothing weird that you couldn't account for in the woods ever?
I mean, one time I was out in the woods, and I was out there, I was deer hunting, and I found a bong, and I was probably 5-6 miles out.
Oof.
And there was just a big old, like, 3-foot bong chilling in the middle of the woods, and there's a dildo with it. Yeah, I'm not even making this shit. That was, like, back when I was in high school. And
you missed the party.
I'm way out there. I'm bushwhacking. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? It's hard to have that amount of fun.
You can do it in your backyard. You don't need to go all the way out here to do this.
You can do it in any room in the house.
Okay, tell us a story about your helper.
So obviously upstate New York, you guys been there, or Jeff, you've been there. You deal with the Amish and Mennonites. So my helper was telling me this last September, about the previous September, he was hunting a particular field that he found a feed on, and he said he was out there with some buddies one day, and coming down the road, he hears click, clackety, click, clack, click, click, coming down the road. And all of a sudden, he sees like 5-6 Amish guys dump out of a horse and buggy. They tie their horse up to the telephone pole, go out into the field and start dumping freaking geese while the horse tied right up to the telephone pole. And all I'm thinking, like, this is going on. I'm like, they ain't got a license. They ain't plugged. They ain't got anything they need. They're probably shooting lead shot. And the horse is just tied up on the side of the road.
I think Jeff just
broke my chair.
Yeah, you guarantee you they did not have anything they needed. They just tied their horse up and started letting her eat.
Hold on just a minute. Now I want a question about this. The Amish people, do they have to have a license?
I'm not Amish, so I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I knew you wasn't an Amish. Pretty obvious about that. You do have the Amish beard going, though.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, right.
But he's got tattoos. He's a military guy. He's not Amish. But my question about it is, do they have to have a license because the Native Americans in Canada and Alaska, they don't have to have them?
So I'm not 100% sure on that. I mean, I know a lot of our rules and stuff like that I'd say our rules, but like modern Americanized rules don't apply.
That's why I was wondering if they had to have a hunting license.
It says yes, they do.
They do have to have a hunting license, and they have to go by the same game laws.
This is according to archerytalk.com. It's an old article, 2010. Legally, they need to follow the same rules and regs as us. It's a little segregationist, and buy hunting tags and all that other stuff.
They should have to. And so should the natives. Everybody should have the same set of fucking rules. I don't understand why that's so hard and why it's bad if you don't have that. I mean, we all ought to have the same rules.
Yeah, I mean, the rules are in place for, overtaking over limits and stuff like that. So, I mean, to allow one group to overtake or over limit and not allow another group doesn't do
even the Indians should have the same rules that we have. Unless they want to live like they did back then. If they want to whittle their own arrows and sticks and stuff and do that, I got no problem with that. But if they're going to use modern stuff, they should have the same rules that we have.
But can they use modern stuff on these
yes.
on these big seasons?
Haven't you ever watched Above Zero, or what's that show called? Life Below Zero?
No, I've never.
They're shooting shotguns at geese in March and April and May.
Oh, okay.
Just whatever they want to shoot. If they want to get up there and do it with a fiddle stick, no, go ahead, knock yourself out. I don't care. But if you're going to have the same rules, you should have the same rules we do if you're going to use modern equipment. If you're going to use decoys, an Evinrude boat motor, and all this other stuff, then you should have the same rules that we do. That's only fair. And
have you ever seen any of them videos of the Amish backing in a trailer or backing in a boat on the back of a horse and buggy on a boat launch?
No, but that is about as hypocritical as you can get. They can't drive a truck back there, but they can use a horse. You're shitting me. They seriously do that?
Oh, Jeff, look it up. I'm surprised you haven't seen it. I figured you would have.
No, I don't. We don't have any Amish around here. We ain't got nobody that works that hard. That's the hardest working people in the world, just about.
Yeah, I just seen a video of them. A whole group of Amish people. They had to move.
Yes, I did too.
Pick it up.
And they jacked it up, and the whole community was there and carried the barn to where they wanted to put it. And I'm like, you could not get anyone to do that. We'd be out there with forklifts, cranes, all that stuff. And these guys no, we'll just grab 18 people and we'll
Have
move
you
it
seen
ourselves.
the barn building one they got? They built a huge barn. I mean, I'm not talking about a small barn. I'm talking a 10,000 square foot barn. And they built it in a day.
Oh, yeah. They get the whole community out there and they're all busting their butts.
They got them hot chicks in the Amish little outfits and bringing pie and stuff into. I wonder are those chicks hot really? And I've never been around but many Amish girls, but like on the show, they always get some hot chick to play an Amish girl. Are there some hot Amish chicks up there?
I would say yes. I mean, Amish is a weird thing because I hunted a field that some Amish owned last year, and I went to go thank the landowner, the farmer, after we got done hunting, and his teenage daughters are outside, and he covered their eyes and pushed them inside. I guess they weren't allowed to look at
you,
men of age or outside the Amish community.
See, I thought you were going to say he had a daughter ready for you. He was wanting to, get out of the family bloodline a little bit.
Do they shave their legs?
I don't know. You can't tell anything.
I always wondered about that. They don't believe in modern deal. I mean,
See,
if it's like Sasquatch down there or what?
See, because that was one of the stories that I heard from a guy in Canada was that he had like, you know,
Service the
service.
Do you believe him?
No, not at all.
So this guy's full of shit, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Do I know him?
I can't even remember now. It's been so long ago.
Josh
but-
Stoner.
No, it wasn't him. But yeah, like it was a whole deal, and like cool. I think he said it when I was like 16 or 17.
And this was in Canada. This was going on.
Yeah.
Mikey's listening to this. He's gonna be driving to every Amish community tonight looking for some some Amish chick.
Because like they needed new blood into the.
I've always heard that's the deal, but I don't know if it was a wives' tale or not.
I think it's a wives' tale.
But they also got Hooterites up there. And the Hooterites like to party.
Yeah,
from what I understand.
And from what I understand is, I guess they could use these power tools, but they can't own them. So like that's a loophole. If they're building your pole barn or something, like you can have tools for them to use and they'll use them, but they just can't take them home. So I don't know.
Yeah, you run into a big difference with like the Mennonites and the Amish too. Like the Amish are like the old school ones who aren't using the power tools, and the Mennonites are driving vehicles using those power tools. They have electricity, but they still believe in some of those like Amish views, I guess.
The very first time I was ever not indoctrinated, I guess, around anybody that was a Mennonite or an Amish, we had a bad tornado when I was a kid, and the place that we did I was in Boy Scouts, and we would meet every day. We'd meet at a church like every Tuesday night or something. And that summer after the tornado, that we couldn't use that anymore because the Mennonites stayed there and they came to town to help us. And there was like 100 of them, and they come there and worked and stuff. And all I remember hearing from my mom was, "Yeah, they don't have zippers in their clothes." That's all I remembered. You know, I didn't want to go around being a crotch watcher, you know, to see if they didn't, but they button fly. But that's all I heard because it was a machine to zip your pants. I thought, what a weird religion, you know, that make people can't use zippers. But
yeah, the different communities have like different colors they can wear and stuff too. It's like, to me, it's like almost like gang related stuff.
Crips or Bloods and the Amish.
Got this color.
Amish drive by, boom, 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 clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, clop.
Did anybody get a look at that horse? What their buggy look like?
Well, I know like in New York, I don't know how it is in other states. Now they're requiring them because, you know, the buggies are black and a lot of them have black horses. They're requiring them to put hazard lights and stuff like that. I seen one early season. The thing had underglows on it. The thing was and I'm not even shitting you. This thing was pimped right out. Had blue underglows on it. Had I seen it in the rear view coming, and I was like, oh damn, that's a semi. Right. I pulled over the side of the road watching some geese. It was just after dark. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be a semi coming. Freaking no! It was all decked out with LED lights and everything. And I'm like, at this point, why not just go buy a car?
Yeah, you got spinners on your fucking buggy. Like, just go get a car.
We were, I think, in Indiana or somewhere. I can't remember where I was, but anyways, I got behind a Amish kid on a date. I was assuming it might have been his sister, maybe it wasn't his girlfriend, but had to be about 16 years old, and it was a little buggy. When they had the little bonnet, she had the bonnet on shit, and he had the starter beard and all that crap. And anyways, they were in front of me, and I couldn't. It was a windy ass road, and I couldn't pass them. And I stuck behind them for about 2 miles. It's like, son of a bitch, pull over and let me by. And but it's a different culture for sure. And I'm sure it has a lot of good things, and I'm sure there are a lot of bad things about it. But boy, they are close, and they sure keep to themselves. And I don't think they ever cause anybody else any problems ever.
No, I think they're very peaceful, like you said, Jeff, right to themselves. And what I understand, they're extremely helpful.
Yeah. The only time I've been around, they were really, really, really nice. I had an Amish guy call me about a hunt early this summer or the spring or sometime, called me about a date, and he was Amish. He was wanting to bring a bunch of Amish people because he had some really different questions for me, you know, and I didn't know what it was.
What kind of different?
About guns and ammunition, guns. They're just the normal questions, but
technically, isn't a gun a machine?
Well, I didn't really get into that with him, but anyways, because I asked him, I said, "Y'all hunt a lot?" He said, "Yeah, we do a lot of hunting." You know, and his name was like Ebenezer or something. He had a different name, but he was really a nice man. But he had a lot of questions for me and stuff, and he was going to see if they could get enough group in their flock or whatever he called. I mean, but he told me, he said we're an Amish group and it's a church group and blah blah blah. You know.
Because I mean, the definition of machine, like if a zipper is the cutoff, I would assume definitely an automatic shotgun.
Well,
yeah, I wonder if it goes back to one of them things though. If you guys are providing
Right.
it,
They
That
can
one
use
of the
it.
one of the
Right.
questions was, did we rent guns? I said no, we do not rent guns.
There
That
you
was
go,
one of
right
his
there.
questions. I said we do not rent guns at all.
That's the workaround.
But when I was at I went to Harrisburg to the hunting show there 30 long time ago, and there was a ton of Amish there. And it's funny, they would have a school bus pull up, and there would be a guy get out that looked like Joe Stallone from the Queens would get out, and he'd have a whole busload of Amish, and that was his job. Is he was a kind of a cab service for these guys, and there would be a ton of Amish guys get off there, and they were all hunters, but I think most of them were archery hunters, hunted with a bow. But I bet they weren't using what do you call the bow without not the compound bow, the straight long bow
or
or
recurve.
recurve. Yes, that's I think probably what most of them used, but I'm sure some of them used a compound. And I talked to them. They were really nice people. But this guy was a real nice guy. But that's what the question was. Do you rent guns? I was like, no, we don't rent guns. And he told me he was Amish. And then we went on. But he was really a nice man. A lot of questions. And I had a lot of questions for him, I didn't ask him about if his wife shaved her legs.
Try to take every bird as well.
They what?
Every bird, because they'll take it back and they'll feed the whole community with it. Because they're big on like the community. So they'll take every bird. Some guys like, oh, no, we don't want to take them. They will take everyone's bird if you let
They
them.
said the Hutterites and a lot. Somebody I know that goes to Canada. I'm not going to say his name. He told me that's what they give all their birds to is the Hutterites. He said they take every bird they have in Canada.
When we went to Alamosa, Colorado, and shot all those bands, that's the place you need to go.
Alamosa to shoot bands.
Alamosa shoot bands by the Gator Pond. We met an Hutterite and Mennonite. I can't remember which. And I don't know if there's much of a distinction. I'm sure there is. I'm ignorant to that. But he took all of our birds when we were in Alamosa to shoot all those bands by the Gator Pond.
Hey, because that's exactly what they'll do. So they'll take in their whole community or church, whatever it is. They will feed everybody with it. Because with them, I think it's everyone gets a share.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've got a great sense of community and taking care of one another and making sure that nobody goes without that's in their little group. And that's fantastic. So, maybe if we could all be that way, maybe the world would be a better place.
The world would be a whole lot better place if we were all Amish and Mennonites. I promise you.
Yeah.
And I'm not being.
And I mean, we would all know how to.
I'm being honest.
Everybody would know how to do shit and pull their own weight.
Exactly. I think that's big. Is no one knows how to pull their own weight.
There's no
anymore.
lazy Amish people.
No.
They learn work ethic at a young age.
Yeah.
And
you don't see one single fat Amish person.
No, I've never been confused for an Amish guy. Nobody ever saw me and said, I bet old Jeff's an Amish guy.
Jeff an Amish or a Muslim? We can't tell.
Yeah, he ain't neither one of those.
So you're coming up. Are you guys like in a split right now, or is hunting season still going on?
So in New Hampshire, we're open on ducks. We're open on big geese again. And then New York in the Finger Lake zone, it's opening up this upcoming weekend. But it's duck only, and I like I said, I like to do them combo hunts, be able to get both best of both worlds. So I don't go back until next Thursday, do a little scouting, and I think my next client's coming on Saturday.
So when I'm up at the Finger Lakes next week, waterfowl season's going on, and there's going to be some guys in some fields hunting and stuff.
Most likely.
Cool. I hope I see some of that.
Jeff can do like he does here in Texas and just stop and watch. And
I will.
Park entirely too close to their fucking decoy spread. If that happens to you, just somebody get a hold of me on Instagram, and I'll give you Jeff's cell phone number, and you can tell him what we tell him, and that's back the fuck up.
Yeah, if you see a fat Amish guy, holler at him, let him know. But I will. If I see,
I thought you were Muslim.
No, I'm not. I'm a lot of things, but that's one fucking thing I am not. I'm not putting on a suicide vest. It ain't happening.
Well, never say never.
That shit ain't happening ever. I would be an Amish. Be very proud to be an Amish. They're good people. But I will if.
I think it'd be cool, like a week, being Amish for a week.
I don't know
3
about
days.
all that.
3 days.
First time I
Probably all would make it. Is 3
get up.
days.
First time they want me to do one of them barn building deals. I'd
Yeah,
be like,
we're all gonna go move a barn.
Yeah. I was like, do you
We
need
got everybody.
Did you hire me here to be the boss, or do you actually want me to work? Because that's what I know. If you want me to point fingers and tell you what to do there at Jedediah, I can do that. But I'm not doing anything else. They are some hardworking deal. Well, hey man, we appreciate you being on here, and we look forward to.
How are before you go? How are our bookings? If people, do you still have availability if somebody wanted to book a hunt with you?
Yeah, I have a little bit in the next week, because that regular season stuff, not a lot of guys really want to get off of that regular season stuff, but I have few availabilities coming up. I think like the 29th, 30th of October.
And that's a great time to be there, right?
Yeah, it's a great time to be there. I mean, the foliage is great. There's a lot of things is like I tell everybody, there's so much more to do after your hunt. Like don't think you need to go on your hunt and then you're at the hotel room. There's a million things to do in the Finger Lakes region. It's full of wineries, full of foliage. There's a million places to see. It's honestly
so. Does most of your clientele, are they from like this area, or do most of them come from further away?
I had clients from Florida the September season. I just posted a lot of snow goose dates for Pennsylvania in February. And a lot of people are coming out of like Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. So, I mean, I would say a lot of people are coming off the eastern seaboard, the East Coast. Right. And then I've had a few reach out from like Minnesota and stuff.
I tell you what, if you could market it correctly, you could get a lot of people from the southern states that don't have the leaves changing. And I'm telling you what, like that with the good hunting that you have, and just like you said, like you can go look at leaves changing and go to a winery or brewery or whatever. Like there's something there.
There's not a prettier place in the United States
right now,
from that area all the way back up through Maine. For the people that have not have been to Maine and seen the rocky shores and the water and the lighthouses all along the ocean and the lobster rolls, all the way down to Boston and all this. I mean, even to New York, and then back around up through the Finger Lakes area to Buffalo. That's some of the prettiest parts of our country. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've never been there, just go see it. Even if it's in the summertime when it's not hunting season. But man, to go there during the hunting season, get a chance to hunt and watching the leaves change. I'm telling you, I've been to the mountains in the fall. I've been to a lot of places, but there is nothing as pretty as Stowe, Vermont and Woodstock, Vermont when the reds and all the colors are there. It just does not get any more beautiful. It looks like a picture, and you can't believe it when you see it.
Exactly.
Well, and I mean, just there's so many different avenues. The history of that whole area, building a country, and there's just so much to do. So you've definitely got something here. I mean, if market it correctly, and you can get a lot of people from, like you said, Florida, Georgia, that whole area, and come up there and watch fall roll into the country. So
yeah, it's like I get a lot of people that they don't really like Florida. They don't have that option to shoot big geese, right, the big honkers too often. And it's the same thing with snow geese. So a lot of states, they don't get the snow geese or certain duck species, and that's what they're coming up to target. But there's a whole other avenue to go down, like we were saying, after the hunt, stuff like that. Right. And that's one thing I'm working on, is having marketing done a little bit different, where it can be, hey, like this is also what you can do. This is what peak foliage is going to be here. Sure. And all that sorts of stuff as well.
Market the destination.
That's right.
Well, hey, we appreciate it. We wish the best of luck. Keep us posted on how you're doing. Naturally, go get a Hunt Proof app. That way I can keep up with you on the Hunt Proof app. I can look at your log books and see how you're doing.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys very much, or thank you very much. We appreciate everybody for listening to us. God bless y'all and have a great week.
Bye. Oh, we're done.
Done.
Ladies and gentlemen, go look at all of our sponsors. I need to put Hunt Proof on here. Go check out Hunt Proof. Get an app. Get the app. Set up an account. All that good stuff. Check us out at Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Dirty Duck Coffee, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Bangtail Whiskey, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Shin Gear Waders, Gundog Outdoors, Pacific Calls, Dive On Ministries, and Boss Shot Show.